So today I will be flying back to Japan. This was a decision made about a month ago, and so I've really been looking forward to it. I will be taking you through my process of going to the airport, going through customs, and getting back to my apartment, quarantining, stuff like that. So yeah, I will be taking you on this journey of traveling back to Japan from America during the coronavirus pandemic. Hey guys, so during this beautiful flight B-roll, I'm going to explain the application process I took to get back into Japan. This information I was using was from September 1st. So the requirements or the application process might have changed since then. So please check the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan website as well as your local government websites for recent information. I do know that the Japanese government is currently in discussion about allowing more people with visas into the country, so things might have changed by the time you watch this video. So the application process went by pretty smoothly for me, although you have to meet certain requirements in order to be able to apply. The requirements were that you had a passport with a valid re-entry permit, and this also included the special re-entry permit. At first, I wasn't quite too sure what a special re-entry permit is, but when you look in your passport, if you have a visa, you get this re-entry permit stapled into your passport, and so it will tell you that within a year of you exiting the country, you have special re-entry permission. And then you also needed a residence card issued by the Japanese authority, which means that it states your place of stay in Japan and your identification in Japan. So you needed that, as well as you needed a letter of confirmation for re-entry into Japan. And I'll talk a little bit about the information I had to give in order to apply for the letter of confirmation. The letter of confirmation application was on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Japan website, so you can easily find it there. The application was very simple. You just had to fill out the form that they had linked on their website, which you had to give information about yourself, so like your birth date, your place of birth, your nationality, your address in Japan, your passport information, as well as your residency visa information. So I had filled all of that out. You also had to put in the date of your flight as well as your flight number. I took a special flight from Hawaii back to Japan, which specifically chartered Japanese residents back to Japan, and as I fulfilled those requirements, I was also able to take that flight. So then after you finish filling out that application, you're going to need to take your residence card, your passport, your ID, and your application to your local consulate, Japanese consulate, in which I went to the Honolulu Consulate of Japan. And so from there, they'll scan your documents, take your application, and it will be a waiting process to wait until you get your actual letter of confirmation. Mine took a little more than a week for it to process and go through. So then when you go back, you have to go back to the Japanese consulate and pick up your letter of confirmation to re-enter into Japan. This was a pretty simple process, so I didn't have that much trouble at all. The second part of my process in getting back to Japan was to get a COVID-19 test. And so this process was a bit more difficult because the Japanese government wanted a specific type of COVID-19 test. I'm not too sure what it was called. I'll put it here. And so it took a while to schedule that. I had to personally work with a clinical laboratory in order to get that test done within the 72 hours of my flight. And the 72 hours of my flight landed on a Sunday, which was really unfortunate because on Sundays, clinics in Hawaii did not do testing for people who needed testing for flights. So you could only get tested on Sundays if you were symptomatic. So I had to work with the clinical laboratories to schedule a special test to get a test scheduled on that Sunday, as well as get the specific test that the Japanese government required. The Japanese consulate should have also given you a form that would be filled out for you to say that you are a negative test and everything is clear. I highly recommend filling out that form instead of just turning in your own form, just because when I got to the airport the day of my flight, there were some problems with the clinical laboratories form stating that I was negative because it didn't state my nationality and have my passport number on it. So I highly recommend just filling out that form and having that in use instead. But other than that, everything ran really smoothly. After that, I was able to get onto my flight, and yeah, so I will let this B-roll finish and move on with the video.
Hi guys! Good morning. It's Friday in Japan and I arrived last night, or last evening, and I was gonna try film, but you couldn't film the whole coronavirus testing process, which took about 2 hours, I think. And then by the time I got back to my apartment, having to carry all my suitcases up 4 flights of stairs wasn't very fun. So I was really tired last night, so I just ended up not filming. But this morning I've settled in and everything went smoothly. I didn't really have any problems. So yeah, I'm here in Japan and exciting. So I will be quarantining here for the next 2 weeks, and so I will be ordering. I'll kind of show you my 2-week quarantine happenings. It's mostly just gonna be school, but there are other surprises that will appear in another video. So yeah, enjoy my next 2 weeks of quarantine with me.